Alrighty then. How's it going, everybody? Trying to start a little closer to on time today. Only about 7 minutes past when someday I will actually like to start on time. Let's see, what are we up to today? Friday I tried streaming from my PC downstairs, my gaming PC. That didn't go super well. Various technical difficulties, and about an hour into the stream, we had a power outage at my house, so that cut short. Monday I meant to stream. Kind of got blocked by some meetings and some real-life stuff. Had to take one of the cats to the vet. So, you know, crap happens. But it's Wednesday, I'm going to try it again. As I have been for the last month or so, I'm going to be hacking on Firefox Color again. And I'm actually getting pretty close, I think, to being done with kind of the first cut of this feature. Of course, what I know is once I think I'm done, there's still going to be a lot of work left to do in terms of testing it and making sure everything works the way we'd like it to. But that's alright. I think the hardest part was trying to figure out how to even get it to work in the first place, so we're getting closer to that. Oh, before I jump into it, I'm trying to think what else is going on. Oh yeah, this weekend. So I'm just going to jump into the scene switcher so you can join me in my browser. Alright, here we go. Got a few to-dos there up in the right. I guess before I get started, one thing I'm thinking of doing this weekend, I think it was, I don't know if Slayer Darth has joined me yet. He hangs out in chat quite a bit. The Slayer Darth brought to my attention this hack-along Twitch community hackathon. I'm kind of new at this streaming thing. I doubt very many people have even heard of me, but I was thinking of joining up with this thing. This thing has open submissions. Going to be this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Certainly not really up for 24-hour hackathons these days, but I could at least hang for you know, 8 to 12 hours. We'll see what happens. So you may see me streaming on Saturday, and we'll see how that goes. It'd be kind of neat to see what everybody else is up to and kind of get further into the programming and creative stream community. I've kind of lurked in a lot of streams, and folks in that community seem pretty cool. Let's see. This song is almost a little too mellow for me right now. What else we got coming up? Maybe that's a little weird. I keep shuffling all the songs in the world at random because I'm trying to put together a collection that I can shuffle through. I don't know, maybe I'll just jump to my my favorites right now, because I know these are pretty good songs. Someday I'm going to get back to work on my streaming tools. I've got a combination chatbot overlay thing that I've been playing with as a side project, and I kind of want to hook Chip Machine here up to it to accept song requests, and just kind of like mention in the chat every now and then what song is playing. Well, alright, I think I've babbled long enough about general things. Maybe we can jump right into it. Like I said, I'm working on Firefox Color. This is an experiment at testpilot.firefox.com, which, if you've been watching my stream at all, you should know what this is all about. I kind of think sometimes I should give a little intro when I first start up the stream. I don't know, maybe that gets redundant. Oh, that's right, I'm still stuck on German because I was testing localization. Let me fix that real quick. But anyways, what I'm working on, I'm part of the test pilot team at Mozilla, and we're playing around with, experimenting with potential new features for Firefox. They may or may not actually make it into Firefox. A lot of that depends on feedback, if folks find them useful. And the experiment that I'm working on is Firefox Color, which is a way of styling your browser, putting a little personal touch with colors and background images. And the thing that I've been working on for about the past month or so is adding your own background images, which has turned out to be a little tougher than I expected when I first started it, but I think I've got it most of the way there. So now it's kind of coming down to like tweaks and performance enhancements. So today's tweak that I hope to get through is I pointed the wrong way again. No, straight above my head. Well, the other side is straight above my head. I'll get better at pointing at things at someday. My to-dos. The first to-do. When I hit this add button, it just inserts an empty row without an image. And then you have to pick an image. And what I'd like that button to do is not make me do that two-step. Make me, if I hit add, immediately pop up the file picker so that when that row comes in, it's already got an image in it. So that's going to be my first task, is doing a little bit of refactoring here so that the add button imports an image. I think I'll jump into it. Back to my editor. The other thing I'm trying today is the last few streams I've been trying to do all of this using a Linux machine, a virtual machine in Amazon's EC2 cloud. And I've been running Webpack there to try to save some CPU on my local machine. It's been kind of more hassle than it's worth, so today I'm going to try running my Webpack build just directly in PowerShell on my local Windows machine. So far it's running, and it seems to be doing alright. I think some of the problem I've run into is that this laptop does not have a good graphics card, and it doesn't have hardware video encoding, so when I'm streaming, all this video encoding is being done in software, so I think that's just chowing up a good chunk of my CPU time. But so far the trade-off has been, do I want my Webpack build to be slow or do I want my editor to be slow? So I'm just going to see if I can get it to work. Alright, well, it's running at least. So, back to my editor. The component I'm looking at here, this is a React and Redux project, and this React component I'm looking at is called Theme Custom Background Picker. And it's the component that kind of governs this whole terribly styled area of the app. And it's got a few subcomponents. And what it does is it has a list of images. And each of these images have different tiling and positioning options. So I can do a thing like import an image of my head. I can drag and drop them to change their order up here. I can do some, I don't know, let's say I want to tile it. And this is where the reordering comes in handy, because like I just tiled this image, it covered up the other one. I can reorder them, so now I've got a tiled image behind the other one. So just kind of the basic functionality of this. Hi Jesse Skinner, how you doing? Usually lurking in your channel. Alright, so yeah, so the first thing I want to do here is this add button should immediately ask me to select an image rather than inserting an empty row. And I started to do a little bit on Friday before my whole system died. And unfortunately, I think I lost the work that I started on Friday, but I still kind of remember the strategy I was going to go for, so I'm going to just start the work from scratch. Yeah, I'm not doing too bad today. I just downed 2 espressos before starting the stream, so I'm usually a pretty sleepy guy at this point of the day, so maybe I'm going to be a little more hyper than usual. Hopefully that means I get stuff done. Alright, so theme custom background selector. This is where the image is imported. And what I want to do is take the bit that imports an image and yank it out of this component into its own standalone component. So then I can reuse the image importing component for both an existing row and creating the new row. And there's a few things that component's going to want to do. So it does some kind of light validation. Yeah, I feel like I got a little bit of the Clockwork Orange thing going on here. Put some toothpicks in my eyes. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll just start a new component. And this is gonna be a full-on component class rather than, say, a functional component, because it's gonna have to maintain some internal state. So just kind of hammering out the boilerplate here. Could probably copy pasta this, but kind of limbering up my fingers, I guess. So yeah, so I guess the first step of this is I'm going to refactor this out such that basically nothing changes. Because I guess that's the first step of refactoring, is you want to extract some stuff into its own little separate unit and don't break anything. Unfortunately, I don't have any front-end tests for this stuff, so I don't have any unit tests for my UI, but that's alright for now. Oh yeah, so I'm going to need to render... You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to split this, since I'm going to be traveling back and forth in the file. So these are 2 splits on the same file. And part of what I want to do here is take the validation state stuff. I'm going to stick it up here in this component. I'm going to take, yeah, let's just make a render method. Help if I could spell return. And since I'm not using the fragment here, React always wants you to return one element. Although the new fragment component API lets you do fragments, but let's just do that for now. Part of this is going to be kind of doodling in code. I don't know what I'm going to hand to this thing yet. Actually, you know what I think the API I'm going to want for this is something like once the user's picked an image, this onImport handler should get called. Let's say it's going to come with an image. And then it'll do fun stuff. What else we got going on here? Clear background, that stays with the original. Playing with the alignment and tiling options, that stays there. And I'm going to steal this handle file choice. I'm going to steal part of this. Let's see. I'm going to split this function up a little bit. So again, what I'm making here is a component that just handles importing an image. so I can reuse that functionality. I don't need all that yet. Yeah. That's going to take... And eventually this handle file choice method in the original is going to turn into, I guess, the on import that I imagined so far. Let's yank that out, stick it over here. Let's just call it that right now. Or let's call it, I don't know, since I'm doing this naming convention. And so this component's going to handle its own button and validation and all that. And we're not even going to use that, we're going to do this. So when it imports an image, it's going to call this. So when this component is done importing an image, it'll end up calling this handler with a little JavaScript object that'll contain the name of the image along with a few other details. We'll just kind of shifting the functionality around a bit. Yeah, right. And the this component is going to handle its own add image and update image. So again, one of the things I've got going on in this app is the storage of images and the usage of them as backgrounds are separate. And that's because different themes that are saved could share the same images. What else are we doing? Yeah, that's correct. Well, no, okay, so this moves. And this moves. I'm going too far. Okay, yeah, and some of the things that this is going to need, I see. So I'm thinking of like what other properties this needs. It's going to need a... Yeah, why don't we do this? So add image and update image. These are passed into this overall component from higher up in the React tree, like the React hierarchy. And they're basically just Redux actions wrapped with dispatch from the store. You know, I'm going to use this syntax. Kind of a cleaner way of putting that stuff of passing these prompts. I'm sure my build is going nuts in the background with lots of breakage because I'm not done reshaping things. Okay, what do we have left to do? So why is it taking so long to save? I'm not using NFS this time. Right? I'm not on my yeah, I'm just on my C drive. Okay, well, whatever. This thing's still going nuts in the background. But it's still running at least. Okay, okay. So, This component, it's going to have a button. It'll let you pick an image. It'll import it. And when it's all done importing, onImport will be called. Okay, so now I need to add the onImport prop here. And I'm going to call it here. So it updates its own image in the store, and then it'll finally go. And that's the object that'll get called. Now what it's not doing, what this component is not going to do, is pass along the actual image data. So what I'm doing throughout the app is referring to these images by name, so that everywhere where the image is handled, it's just got a reference to the image by name rather than all the image data. And I found that to be an optimization because early on I was actually passing the base64 encoded data URL of the image through the Redux store. And that got kind of badly performant because every time we dispatch an action through the Redux store, it is kind of a copy on write, so we produce a new state. We don't modify the existing state in Redux. And what I was finding is it seemed to be badly performing because it had like 300K, 500K, 1 megabyte images encoded as strings in the Redux store in bits of the data that changed a lot. So it seemed like that wasn't performing well. Did a little bit of benchmarking and it kind of sucked. So I separated out the actual data, the actual image data. So the only thing that moves around often are image names. And the only time the image data changes is if you import a new image or delete an image. So that's what that's all about. So the parent component here only gets the name of the image, doesn't get the actual image itself. But that's okay, because then when I get around to actually displaying the theme, it finally dereferences the name and gets the image data. It's okay. What else does this thing need to do? Should be when I click the button. I click the file button, does handle file choice, does a little bit of light validation for content type and content size. Here it does the image importing and image updating. So it's actually a two-stage process. When you click the button to add the image, it adds the record but leaves it flagged as like in progress. And there's some state here that should show that. And then once it's done processing it, it should resolve to done. I think I'm missing some stuff around that. So probably one of the things this needs is an image. Yeah. Not doing that. We are doing that. Okay, yeah. I'm just still kind of mentally chewing through what all I need to move to finish refactoring this component out. Okay. Yeah, this isn't quite right yet. I think I'm getting pretty close, though. I'm trying to think like what bits have I not moved over to the new component. I can also just try it and see what errors I get and see what I broke. Well, let's see what it looks like so far. I'm sure it's broken. The build isn't breaking, so I don't have any... Do I have... Oh, okay. I do have a bunch of linting errors, so this is a big hint right here. This is stuff I haven't finished copying around. Well, let's look into those and see what it does. So line 46, error, not defined. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm missing a few things. Like, this stuff needs to move. What else? Actually, this thing should have an importing state. Because this process of reading in the image is not instantaneous. So that's not coming from the image anymore. Actually, though, I might... I probably should leave it there, because maybe I don't need to. It's really only relevant to this component, is the... Because it was a part of the theme custom background selector overall component, but I think that's part of the responsibility of this importer component now, to track its own import and progress status. I don't want to make that local state. I did have it, I think I have had it in the Redux store, but maybe that's more appropriately like kind of transient local state. It's also state that's dependent on a browser process, so it's not like it's actually all that helpful to, say, step time travel wise through those Redux states. Alright. What else am I missing? Let's look at the lint again, I guess. Handle file choice is not defined. Okay, well, I see. That comes from this. There we go, and then we don't use that over here anymore. Name error is around line 142. It's not stuff I do anymore. Maybe I should just run with lint for a little while. What do I call that anyways? I've got a bunch of npm scripts in my package.json for like little conveniences. So what I can do for right now is just... I think I can be a little more picky. I've got an overall npm start that runs a whole bunch of stuff all at once, but if I know I'm not ready for a build, that's all wasted effort. So maybe I should just do a file watcher on lint for now until lint is clean, and then I can start up the overall build. And part of the reason I'm worried about that, or I'm thinking about that, is just because I'm chewing up a lot of CPU right now between streaming, so sometimes it's good to conserve a bit. If only to see things actually run productively fast. Okay, so I still got some linting errors. Line 22, error. Okay, so I don't use those here. I use those in rendering. Right? Yeah. What else am I missing? Line 46, missing semicolon. Missing a semicolon here, I guess. Let's see what it says now. That has taken an awful long time. I don't like it. I'm sure I didn't. There we go. It's like I'm sure I didn't fix all my linting errors. Trailing spaces is my least favorite linting error. It's in there. It's in some recommended set of rules. Never seems helpful though. There goes my lint. Also wondered, what else do I have running that I could kill? Free up some more CPU. Not really much. Oh, line 150. What's going on at line 150? Got rid of that space. Let's try this. My file launcher seems to be very slow. Oh, actually, you know what? My file linter... I was looking at the old error. Fine. Fixed all my linting issues. Right? There it goes. Cool. So let's just start the general build again. I'm somewhat tempted to shift this back to my Amazon EC2 box because this build is very slow locally still. Maybe I'll jump Windows and see about restarting that. Come on, little Webpack, you can do it. Yeah, see, so far my trade-off has been a slow Webpack and fast editor, or a fast Webpack, but a slow editor over the network. Okay. Didn't bring anything too obvious. I'm sure something's broken though. I can't have finished doing that right the first time. Yeah, this is very slow. Well... maybe while this is going in the background, I'll try firing up my EC2 box. And the nice thing is that since all this code is going to be on GitHub, I can just use that as a sync point. Alright, so it did finally finish building. There's the site. No obvious errors yet. Jiminy cricket. I think the next time I get a laptop. So Part of what my issue is right here is I have a 13-inch Dell XPS laptop that I think I'm overworking. Because I wanted something nice and small and portable. I think next time I refresh my laptop, I'm gonna go for the chunkiest 15-inch thing with the heaviest CPU I can find. Because I may be asking too much of this little thing. Alright, so finally this thing loaded, right? Try a theme. That worked. Okay. Now let's try adding a custom image. So far so good. This is my component, right? See, I'm always suspicious when code I write appears to work the first time. So sometimes I just kind of have to pinch myself. And throw garbage into my code. Yeah, my component changed. No error so far. So I guess the next thing is to see if it actually successfully imports an image. And this goes away. This goes away. Let's find an image. And I add this one. It's importing the image. It put the image in storage. Okay. So the one thing that it's not doing is it's not successfully showing the preview. So you probably fix that. What am I missing here? Just kind of terrible debugging, because I'm trying to remember if I properly destructured. Yeah, I think I'm passing the image along, and it should be going on into the button, and the button should have a reference to the image. The image is null. Why is the image null? Alright, well, I'm going to do a little more debugging. Because I'm wondering, like, what did I pass along here? I'm also looking at some log messages that happened here. Could help to look at the Redux debugging. So I import an image, add image, then it should say update image, and then it should say, oh, okay, well that's correct-ish. No, that's not what I want. That's the actual image data, which is not what I want to play around with. Well, actually it is. It is. No, so that's correct. Should end up being down here. Yeah, okay, well, okay, the image preview is back. Why was it null before, though? Confused. Am I not passing? I am passing in the current image. Trying not to get too tangled up in, because I've got the same file open twice, and I keep zooming back and forth in the same file. Alright, so I snipped out that debugging stuff. It's gonna take a minute. Okay, so it's got the preview now. Wonder why I didn't have it before. Let's add another image and see what happens. Importing image. Image is imported, but I don't have it here. Something's fishy. Because it's got the image. I'm just not passing something properly. I'll figure it out. No, that's weird. It's not handling drag and drop very well. Something's broken. Kind of like getting myself confused here. Losing myself in my own code. So part of it's working right, part of it's not working right. I'm missing the name. I might be missing the name. Ah, this is what I'm missing. What's being passed into my importer is not the image struct. It is actually getting the image data, right? I'm getting myself confused because there's the image data and then there is the image name and size and type. Okay. Let's do this. Wait. Well, now that's confusing me. Oh no, I know what's going on. I think I know what's going on. Or at least I know what's going on in that line. This thing doesn't need to know about this. I am confused though, so I am not doing a good job of narrating what's going on in my brain. I'm trying to think through. Let's try with this cleanish slate. There's something I'm not passing somewhere, but it's weird because it seems like it's getting through some of the time. So I'm wondering if I'm not re-rendering the thing at the right times. Which it should do though. Let's get rid of these. That's cool. Let's clear that background. Clear that background. Let's clear that background. Alright, so I add a row. It's a blank row. Validation should still be working too, so like, I don't know if I throw in something that's too big. Yeah, so the validation is still working. That's fine. You know, just because I'm being fussy right now, I'm going to move this. Okay, so we come into render. Got some state, whether it's importing, whether it has an error in it. Validation is working, the importing is working. Image is not a part of my state, image is a part of my props. Image is coming from here. Image here is coming from here. That should all be correct. Let me just do this. Make sure it gets more information up top. I'm really confused why that image is null, because it looks like I'm passing all the image information along in a prop. Yet, when I pick the image, it says it's importing, and it appears to have... it's missing things. Why is the image null? Is it a race condition thing? I don't believe it is. I'm just really confused because it should have the image at that point. I'm gonna throw in some more debugging statements and see what the F is going on here. So, I already had this here. I'm curious, what is going on? This is probably going to make for some nasty console messages, but I want to see what is happening. Is my build still going? You know what? Screw the tests, screw the linting. I just want to run the build. So let's just do... Right? Yeah, let's just run Webpack for now. Let's stop running lint, let's stop running unit tests. Let's just run the build. Because see, one of the things when I do npm start, you can see it runs a whole bunch of things. It runs, it runs the Webpack build, it runs the Webpack build, it runs a watcher to build the extension, it runs a watcher to lint files, it runs a watcher to validate the add-on, it runs unit tests. I'm gonna strip that back. Because I'm not seeing half of that crap happening anyways. Here it goes. Maybe this will give me a little bit of CPU headroom. Okay, so save theme, I'm gonna do this one. That's cool. Let's see some spew on the console. Alright, so that makes sense. First time this component shows up, there's no image yet. Now it's gonna import an image. There's still no image, but why is it still undefined? I'm missing something here. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to take a brief break here. Been streaming for about an hour. Need to go refresh my coffee. Maybe I'll think about this problem in a few more minutes. So for now, enjoy this GIF, and I will be right back. Alright, I am back. And about to jump back at it. I don't know if I'm any closer to figuring out what's going on here. I thought this would be super fast, but I apparently am getting lost in a twisty maze of stupidity. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm yanking out this file picker component, and I'm missing some bit of state along the way. And I don't know exactly what. And I'm wondering if it's an asynchronous race condition kind of thing, but yeah, here's what I'm gonna do. Let's see. Because what's going on here? Okay, so what's going on here? I come in here. I pick an image. Oh no. Man, my page is reloading. Okay. Maybe now I can do it again. It's a problem with auto reload on changes sometimes, is it totally nukes your state. Okay, so I import an image. It says it's importing. And it does get the image. This component just doesn't get the image that it just imported, though. I don't know why. Huh. So I guess I can go all the way back up here. It's supposed to be coming in right here. So, what the heck? Let's get even more visibility into crap that's going on. This seems gratuitous, but I got no images right now. When I import an image, it's importing, imports, it's imported. And my theme custom images is empty. Huh. That's interesting. What the hell happened? So, the contents of theme custom images should be coming from Redux, and it should be the set of images we have imported. And it should be updated when I do add image and update image. Something's not working. But what? I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to dig into my Redux debugger real quick. I'm sure this will all boil down to be something really stupid and simple. So what happens? Okay, let's reload the page. Let's clear the state. Let's start fresh. There it goes. Let's clear this background. Okay. This looks good so far. Add image. Update image. Okay, what just happened? Why did I delete an image? Okay, now that's weird. Okay, I think I might have a sequencing issue here, so let's jump over to this. I'm trying to purge background images that are unused. No, I'm doing it in middleware. Let's disable image purging for now. Yeah, this is where I think things are going awry. Let's stop doing that for now. So my purge images function. Yeah. I think I know what's going on. It's purging the image that I just imported before I have a chance to mark it as used in one of my backgrounds. Yep, that's the problem. So that was my problem. It's not me passing props or anything like that. It's because I changed the order of how things work here. And I import the image and immediately purge it because I have not yet marked it as used by a background, which is what purge images does. So let's stop doing that and update image. The only place, I guess, where we should purge images is when a custom background is cleared, or I guess we could also do it when a saved background is, or a saved theme is deleted. Let's not bother with that right now. Okay. I'm gonna add that to my to-dos. Low down on the list. Okay, well that took far longer than I meant to discover the issue, going down all the wrong roads to find the issue. I'm just kind of going through real quick and cleaning up all my stupid debugging stuff. Hey Slayer Darth. I'm sorry to hear your work was a complete another clusterfuck. Yeah, sure, go ahead and rant and chat. What else do I have going on? Oh yeah. You know, these handler methods are looking pretty regularly shaped. I'm wondering if I can dry those up someday. Ah, well. Wait. Yeah, let's go back to the component I'm yanking out. Alright, so actually I think my code might be working. And I may be done refactoring this component. Yeah, so experience with some freelancers, because I know, like, I don't want to put too much shade on certain folks, but I know sometimes some freelancers will do exactly what you ask them to do. You have to be very specific in what you want from them. Hey, but that sounds like especially terrible PHP. And committing API keys to a repo, that's, oh. Wow, that's... Okay, that's definitely shade-worthy. That's stuff that shouldn't actually leave your machine until you're done with... Actually, shouldn't even be in your code at all. Should be in a file that never gets committed, of course. Alright, cool. So this is working. Yeah, now this extra load images is a thing I want to get rid of. But my component's working. It's importing. There it goes. Alright. So what I managed to do, even though it took me about an hour, is making no visible difference to the application at all. I refactored this little component out from its original location because I want to reuse it. So let's try. From your experience of working with Indian developers, that might be true. I don't know enough. I worked with a lot of Indian developers, but not freelance developers. I know a lot of freelance folks might get into it just for money. I don't know. It might be a cultural thing. I mean, I will say, like, I know in a country like India, getting IT money is a pretty serious bonus to your life, but I have found, and not just Indian freelancers, but I have found that there is a class of freelancers who, and I actually think this is a fair way to work, and maybe it's like a buyer beware kind of thing, but like there are a lot of freelancers across a lot of fields where they are in it just for the money, and they will do precisely what you ask them to do. Yeah. I've met a lot of freelancers who, mainly when I was in basically the ad industry, because I used to work at digital divisions and ad agencies, and we had an issue where there were a lot of freelancers where they didn't actually care about the work, they were just there to do a job. Which I think is a fine way to work, but you just have to, I don't know. You really have to watch the output of some folks. But yeah. And sometimes you're not paying for them to see the big picture, but still it's frustrating because you have to see the big picture. Like, you can't just deliver the letter of what you're asked to do sometimes. That's gonna work? Yeah, that might neaten that up a little bit. But yeah, it is crappy to, like, think you're working with someone who's going to do some some work. I don't know. You expect a little beyond the letter of the request. And I've been disappointed by that a lot of times. Oy. The other thing I found in my career that's frustrating with that kind of thing is I personally am not the person who necessarily hired the freelancer, and so I don't get to push back very hard. But it turns out they look really good in the budget, not accounting for my time. And that's kind of a bad relationship. Yeah, but yeah, overriding global CSS classes is recipe for disaster. Oh, what am I doing next? Okay, yeah. So the next thing I'm doing, I just extracted this component, and I'm going to use it. In fact, I'm going to move this component. Yeah, I want to say one time I managed to successfully push back on a bad outsource/freelancer relationship is at a place that did actually count hours. So I wasn't technically hourly, but I did have to bill all my hours. And I made a special category to bill for freelancer mentoring and freelancer liaisoning and all that crap. And it turned out that my hours cost more than the freelancer did. And so I was actually able to make a case. Yeah. Yeah, and that's an unfortunate case. You hire freelancers because you have too much work to do. So you try to offload some work onto temporary external folks. But if the organization is not careful, you may end up producing even more work for the permanent internal folks who have to clean up after the external folks. Which is fully unfortunate. Where's my add button? Here's my add button. My add button now wants to do something else. Yeah, so instead of my add button, I want another image importer. So what I'm doing here is up until now, this add button adds an empty row. But what I'm gonna do is replace that add button with an image importer. So the image importer will add a new row with an image preloaded. Yeah, I'm gonna borrow some of this code real quick. So image add, what we're getting is a name. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah, okay. I think this is all I need to do. Let's see if I totally broke everything. You know, I almost kind of want to make this song the permanent opening theme for the stream. Where am I? Okay. I think I broke something badly. Yep, I broke something. Okay, so... image is not defined, which is correct. It's not there. Okay, so what I want to do... Boom, 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 boom. Let's not pass that in. Yeah, so it should work fine if it doesn't get an image. Add image is not defined. That's easy enough to fix, I think. Yeah. Yeah, still hacking away on Firefox color. I'm actually getting pretty close to, I think, the end of this feature. Yeah, sure. So I can fill you out. Firefox color. So first of all, to understand Firefox color, you first must understand Firefox test pilot. And this is the team I work on these days. And our whole thing about Firefox test pilot is we want to explore some new ideas for possible Firefox features, and we're expanding beyond that to come up with possible Firefox-related products. And the interesting thing about this is these are not guaranteed to show up in Firefox. They're not even guaranteed to survive more than 3 to 6 months. And so... and they're also all opt-in. Like, none of these are going to get... just like you don't get to use these unless you come to Test Pilot and enable them. So... and they're heavily instrumented with monitoring and metrics so we can tell how you use them. If you uninstall them, you're opted out. There's no more monitoring, there's no more metrics. And also, since they're experiments, we can try some weird things. Like, actually, this experiment right here that we just launched is mildly controversial because one of the things it does is it sends your browser history to a search company. Normally that's a frowned upon thing, and we ban add-ons that do that. But this one, for now, if you try it, if you opt in, you can put on your crash helmet and help us. We're giving this a try. We're analyzing your browser history with an attempt to wrap it with some privacy guarantees, with the benefit that we can send you back recommendations on other things around the web to look at. Now, if it turns out that it's not useful enough, if it turns out that people just don't trust it to use it, it'll never make it into Firefox. But it's a thing we're trying to do. So yeah, so they're basically optional browser add-ons built by us with an aim towards eventually them... it can spin off either as actual add-ons, or they could make it into Firefox proper, or they could disappear altogether, and we decide that it wasn't a good direction to go in. And what we're hoping, since we've been running Firefox for about 2 years now, and expanding it, we're hoping that by building these things really quick, and hacking on them, and getting a lot of feedback, if they're not useful, we can ditch them really fast. If they're useful, then we have a lot of information to tell us if they're going to be handy to build into Firefox. The thing that I'm working on in particular, Firefox Color, is we're looking at user experience-wise how to build a friendly, maybe fun way to customize the theme and colors in your browser. And it's been taking me an awful long time to add. So one of the things that it does out of the box is you can pick all your colors, and you can pick a background image. But you can only pick, at least right now, because there's a production version of this. Color.firefox.com is the live version. And it's a combination of a website and an add-on. The website talks to the add-on, and the add-on talks to Firefox to change its theme. And so what I'm working on right now is you can easily change all the colors. And you can pick a background image, but they're all canned. Like, you can only pick from this selection that we have built into the site. So what I'm working on is expanding this to let you pick whatever background images you want, like from your own computer. Now, one of the features that Color has that we find interesting, and we're trying to see if other people find it interesting, is using the canned background images and the colors, you can actually share this theme via URL. And what's cool is Firefox Color works in Chrome and Edge and all these other web browsers. Now, you can't style your browser from this, but you can preview the theme. So you can kind of see, like, if you were using Firefox, dear Chrome user, you could make your Firefox look like this. So CSS gradients don't work yet, I don't think. So it's not entirely stylable like CSS. It's there's a theme API that takes very specific properties. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, this is what I want actually. Yeah, so currently there's a theme API available to add-ons. You can update, reset, get the current one. And it's not CSS. And we actually based this on Chrome, because Chrome has a theme, it has a theme feature, and it's this JSON structure that lets you, there's actually quite a few properties now. We only support like 7 of them. And there are like 34 or so now. So one of our future versions of Color, the next thing after I'm done with the background images, is we want to revise the UI to support more than just a few colors. But yeah, I haven't used Vivaldi much. I need to try Vivaldi. I know part of our issue right now is we're working on, I don't know if it's an issue per se, but one of our limitations is we're working on revising the Firefox UI ever since the Quantum launch. And I think some of it can get CSS-like colors applied, but we're not at a weird meta dream where the browser UI is itself an HTML5 app, although there have been experiments around that. So yeah, so Firefox Color, it's for editing your Firefox theme and are trying to wrap a nice friendly UI around that. And someday it'll support all these properties. Which actually, this might be an interesting URL to note. You can find docs for all this stuff on MDN. But my end goal with this current project is to be able to pick an image. Pick several images. Oh, that worked. So actually this was the feature I was working on today, is to be able to browse for an image and have it immediately show up in your list. And you can drag and drop these. Actually, I think what I can say is my first to-do is done. And this is terrible, terrible design right now. We've actually got some user experience folks working on a better design for all this. But I'm gonna say my first to-do of the stream is done. Hooray. I'm trying to think if I have to clean up anything here. Yeah, because I'm fussy, I'm going to do this real quick. Let's just do that. Alright, let me review my changes real quick, because I'm going to commit them to GitHub before moving on to the next thing. Actually, I haven't used it in a while, but let's use GitHub Desktop for this. I usually work in a shell. I don't use the GUI tool. I'm going to use the GUI tool now. This is probably a huge mistake, since I've been complaining about lack of CPU. Firefox color, we got some changes, don't we? Yes. Alright, so here is what I did. First thing that I did, well, I rearranged this a little bit, but I took out a call to purging images because I realized as I was adding images, I was deleting them immediately because my image purge function gets rid of unused images. So I imported the image, and then before I used it in a theme, I purged unused images. So then by the time I tried to use it in the theme, it was already gone. There's that change. And my other changes are... So, when I started today... this diff is not helpful. As I moved things around. So maybe I can make this diff a little easier to understand if I move things again. Because I find that having an easy to understand diff is actually really handy. Yeah, let's move this component back up to the top real quick. Let's see if that improves the diff. Because I like to be able to review the diff and explain what the heck did I just do. Does that improve the diff? Somewhat. Okay, so what I did... Yeah, okay, this is what I did. Okay, so I'm going to skip this, because so this is a new component, but this new component is made up of parts I yanked out of and refactored from elsewhere. So down here in Custom Background Picker, I used to have... Actually, no, let's go further down. Yeah, in Theme Custom Background Selector, all this deleted stuff used to be the Theme Background Selector managing image selection and import on its own. And all this red stuff I yanked out and refactored into all this green new component. So I took all the responsibilities for selecting and importing an image and moved it into its own component, which is what this is now. So all this red stuff moved into its own component, and now it's encapsulated as this component. The reason why I yanked all that out and made it into its own component is because there's a second place I wanted to reuse it. So now you can browse for a custom background image here to add a new row. But then you can also here to modify an existing row. And now the UI is still kind of cruddy, and really I kind of want to hide this and just have it be an add button, but I'm still kind of working through it. But it basically means you can immediately import an image and it shows up, and it just has default options. So that was my first to do. And I think it looks pretty clean. Actually, I really don't want this component at the top of the file. I'm gonna move it again and see if my diff is any less useful. Any better? Any different? Yeah, I guess what was confusing me is all the red stuff moved down into the green. I see. Part of it, so diff seems to get confused when I refactor because it sees some similar lines that I moved into the refactored bit, and it tries to make sense of them in a way that doesn't seem helpful. Alright, thanks for stopping by. Have fun with hacking on your project, Slayer Darth. I'm probably going to go for like another 20 minutes or so here. I feel like I wasted a lot of time in this stream just kind of going down dead ends, but that's alright. Okay, so this looks pretty good. Let's commit this. I think it's pretty clean. I'm not super happy with the diff. There's a lot of times the way I like to organize a file is almost like a tree, so what comes first should be highest in importance. Or maybe even more like an outline or a table of contents. So this thing has, this first component, this theme custom background picker, has subordinate, or it has some dependencies. It's got some other components it uses within the same file. I like to list those after the main important component. So like this one, say, uses image importer and background list. Well, I want background list to come after that. I want image selector to come after that. Actually, I wonder if the diff will look better. And it's interesting that I like to structure files that way just because I've found that some languages don't like you to define a thing that uses other things until you define all the things it uses. Like you can't list... You have to define all the dependencies before you can define the thing that uses the dependency. So that gets into interesting things where you have like multiple pass compilers and things to get a language that's happy with that. Yeah, this didn't make any better. Kind of actually, yeah, it did make a better diff. So this maybe is a little more understandable. My top level component used to have an add button. This button right here. And when it added, it didn't yet have an image. So I just added an empty row. But since I replaced the add button with an image importer button, upon importing the image, it can add a row with an image in it in default settings. So that's an improvement. And all this red down here, so all this green is my new component. And pretty much all the red down here are the bits I yanked out to create the new component. So this is all refactoring. And this diff looks better. This diff looks more like a refactoring to me. So let's do this. Let's do that. And let's push that to GitHub. Oh, cool. Took me way too effing long, but I finished the first to-do. And now the changes are off my machine onto GitHub, so I can throw my computer out a window and not lose any work. which is unfortunately what happened last week. When I tried to stream Friday, I lost all that day's work, which was part of this. Alright, anyway, next to do. Now that I can add background images, what I want to do, so here's a problem. Without background images, let's load a theme. If I save this theme, let's see. If I change a thing about this theme, I can save this theme. Now, if I change something again, I've got code in here that compares themes to each other and can tell me whether or not a theme is equal, whether or not two themes are equal. And that means like every property in the theme compares as identical. And that helps me from saving duplicate themes. It also helps me trigger a few other things that detect theme changes. That algorithm does not currently account for background images, but I want to make it do so. So that's what I'm going to do next. Let's look at that code. I believe that code lives in themes.js. Yeah, here it is. So I have a utility function called themes_equal. And it's an annoyingly long function that plods through all the properties. And it returns false if anything differs. Alright, and I'm trying to remember if I do have tests. So this is a bit that can be test driven. So here, let's stop my site build. And I can start just running tests. Now I gotta look up some details on this song because it's got some cool samples in it from like a Cranky Dude. I assume it's from a movie. I'm wondering what these samples are from. Yeah, well, I'll look it up later. Anyway, back to what I was doing. I stopped the site build. I'm just going to start a watcher for tests. So now, as I play around with this function, it's going to run my tests over and over. Idea being, by the time I get around to looking at my tests, they'll have already rerun. I think I got about, like, I don't know, 15 minutes left for streaming today. I'm hoping I can actually get this done in that time. So the tests I'm looking for are right here. These themes equal tests. Let's add a new one. And this is gonna fail, because I'm gonna write the test first, then I'm gonna write the code that implements it. So, okay. Let's just say it should reject difference in custom backgrounds. So what do we do? So we want to say subject is an alias for our function. So what's our data structure for background images? I gotta remind myself, what's the data structure look like for these custom backgrounds? So it's gonna be custom images, custom backgrounds. Okay, so we want to look for let's expect that a run of this function will be true if our hypothetical theme A has of foo, and it doesn't matter here what these are really, because these aren't images, these are names of images, and the images are stored by name elsewhere. Let's do that. So actually I think this test will pass because we're not currently checking. Let's make it more interesting and say it should be different if it's let's do this. Because I wanted to compare lists. Yeah, just one change. I mean, I guess it's, I could change length too. I'm just kind of trying to think of what could be a... Where are the gotchas in this? Because it's kind of weird to come up with test data. Like your test cases should ideally cover some gotchas. So let's do that. This test should fail. Because it's not checking for custom backgrounds whatsoever. Test fails. Cool. I just scared my cat by snapping. Sorry, kitty. Hi, kitty. So let's implement this code. Let's say, I don't know, has custom images A. Actually, is that the proper... I don't even remember if that's the proper place to put that. Yeah, that's the proper place to put that. Okay. Yeah, let's copy pasta this. Because it's very similar. Very similar. Just a little different. This could maybe be dried up someday, but whatever. And we're looking for, I believe... Let's move this test closer to its similar test. Yeah, this looks right. And now this test is not appropriate here, so... And this is a very annoying but tedious comparison algorithm. But what we want to do... I guess what I'm wondering is how do you easily do... I mean, I guess one thing I could do, I could JSON stringify these arrays and then string compare them. That seems lazy and wasteful. Because another thing so I want to track content and I want to track order, which they should basically be the same thing, but if I were to do... I change the order. I want this to be false. Yeah. Oh yeah, and also... Oh yeah, I'm missing something here. These should be plural. And you know what, actually, just one more case for fun. A theme that has no images at all should be different than a theme that has images. So I don't know, just kind of shotgunning some test cases in here. And that test should come up to be false. If I had test coverage running, it should show like this conditional gets hit. And my test failed, which is as expected. So, let me Google this real quick, because I'm wondering if someone has to have a convenient algorithm to do this. What am I doing? I'm hitting all kinds of typos. Deep comparison of object and arrays, because this is a thing that's it's actually in test frameworks, yada yada, but I want to do it myself here, and I'm just being lazy. Okay, so I see JSON stringify is a thing someone's tried, and there's a deep equal package. Am I using that here? I'm not using that here. Because I've heard that JSON stringify is actually pretty performant. Huh, okay. So this might be actually where I heard that JSON stringify is performant. You know what, F it. I'm just gonna do this. This just seems so wasteful, though. Let's do this. This is probably slightly less wasteful. So that's the length case. No. I'm editing the wrong thing. I am editing the wrong thing, aren't I? I'm editing the right thing. Dang it. What I'm looking for, though, what I need to find is custom backgrounds. And so down here I can say, yeah, let's do it like this, because I'm going to use this for a few places. So I grab a reference to these, and I say, if the lengths are unequal, then we're unequal. But then I can say, oh, hey Jiang439, thanks for following me. Hopefully you get some value out of this. As I stumble terribly through my code. Yeah, so rather than JSON stringify, I'm just gonna painstakingly do this. typos everywhere, including right here. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm comparing the contents, and if at any point any of these things are not identical, bail out of the whole function with a false. And I think that should actually pass my test. We'll see. Hey, all tests passed. So... And I'm not really pleased with the verbosity of this function, but I've got a hunch that it's faster than what I was doing before. And there's also some bits in here, because basically what I'm doing is I'm comparing two JavaScript objects. And part of this has some tolerance. So most of it is an exact match, but there are a few parts here. Yeah, like actually this part right here, there's a tolerance because JavaScript math sucks. And so there are a few bits I consider equal if they're within like 0.05 of each other. Anyway, I think that my next to-do is done. Let's review the changes real quick. So over here in GitHub Desktop, I just added this code. And all this is doing is checking the equality of theme.images.custom backgrounds. There's two themes, theme A, theme B. First, they both either have them or they both either don't. If they have them, then they're the same length, or bail. They're the same length, then each of their elements should be the same, or bail. Looks good. And I wrote some tests with some differing cases. So, speak themes equal to return false when custom backgrounds differ. Okay. So I do believe that's my next to-do done. So I'm actually at 2 hours here, but I started a little late, so I'm gonna take 5 more minutes to see if I can get a head start on my next to-do. And my next to-do is, earlier I was messing around with image purging. And the idea is, so the set of imported images is separate from the themes. So there's a repository of images internally to the app here. When I import an image, the image goes in there, and the theme gets the name as a pointer to the image. Now, when I delete it, when I stop using an image in a theme, so right now I have the current theme. I can save a theme. I can save my current theme. When I save my current theme, it'll have references to images. If I delete that image from my current theme, it's still being used by a saved theme. But once I've stopped using that image across all themes, I would like to garbage collect all those unused themes. So it seems like 2 good hook points for that are when I in fact delete an image from the current theme, and when I delete a saved theme. So right now, I think I've got my image purge hooked into one of those 2 cases, but not the other. I've got some middleware here in Redux. In fact, this is like, I'm gonna move this a little bit. it's harder to see where this is used. Yeah, I'm gonna put that down here. I'm gonna put this down there. Let's kind of reorganize this a little bit so it makes a little more sense to me, at least in my head. So this file I'm editing, this is all Redux middleware. So when changes happen in my app, this middleware comes into play. One of these this middleware communicates with the browser add-on and tells it when the theme is changed. This one updates the URL bar with details on the current state of the theme. This one does things when images change. One of which is whenever a new image is imported to the current Redux store, it also throws it into local storage, and then it also sends the newly imported image up to the browser add-on. So what I'm looking for is a hook to also purge images when I delete a saved theme. I'm starting to remember that though, because I don't think saved themes are directly in the Redux store. Yeah. So where does this delete theme function come in? I think it comes from my app component. Does it? It does? Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what I do? Yeah, I do something screwed up here. So I actually do the reverse with images. So in my save themes, when I save a theme, I send it directly to local storage outside of the Redux store. The Redux store then, or actually then local storage then, has an event listener. And when local storage for saved themes changes, it tells Redux to update the whole list of saved themes. And I'm remembering the reason why I do this is because actually, if you have multiple tabs open to Firefox Color, and you save a theme in one, every other tab gets updated with the set of saved themes. And the reason why that happens is because local storage has a change event that fires across tabs. So yeah, this particular to-do is going to get a little more complicated than I mean it to, than I'd like it to. And I think that means... Actually, no. What is the event? Actually, maybe I can just key this off of the event that updates stored themes. But maybe I can knock off this next to-do. Actually, it might be simpler than I think. So notify self for storage. Dispatch event. Where's the event list? The event listener, store dispatch, image. Ah, here we go. Here we go. Actually, this is simpler than I thought. So saved themes are not updated, are not added and removed granularly in the Redux store. They're added and removed from local storage. And then when local storage vomits up an event, a change event, the Redux store fully reloads its set of saved image. So I believe my next to-do can be done like so. Because basically what this is that I'm editing right now, I've got some middleware that traps or that watches for these particular Redux actions. and it does these like side effects. And this is it. I think this is all I have to do for this. So when the set of saved themes changes, that could be an addition or a deletion, purge unused images. If it's a theme addition with new images, doesn't matter, because purge images will do nothing. If it's a deletion, and some images have now become orphaned, purge images will get rid of them. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have any unit tests for this, so I'm just kind of reasoning through it. But I believe that's all I have to do. Let me put some comments in here real quick. Let's try this. Yeah, okay. I think I got it. So I may have actually completed 3 to-dos today, which I think might be a personal record for my stream, pathetically enough. Yeah, okay. I'm trying to remember why this event handler, or this action handler, is so long. Eh. Yeah, okay. I think we're done here, actually. So I've kind of cluttered up the diff because I moved a bunch of things around. I got fussy and I reorganized. But let's do this. So let's do that. And I believe our app is still building. Yes, I didn't break it. So my stream's been running for a little over 2 hours. I think I've got my 3 to-dos done. My last one is kind of a tech debt thing. Maybe I'll figure it out on Friday. But I do believe I made some progress today. And also, I did it all using my local machine, which is a thing I've been complaining about for a few streams now. And I've been trying to use an EC2 box to like outsource some of my CPU cycles, because this has been going too slowly on my local machine. But it seems like this stream, it's behaved itself pretty well. So that bodes well. So yeah, just kind of playing around to see how it's working. And it's not performing too badly. So I kind of feel like things are starting to come together here. And there's a few bugs still. Like you can see as I'm dragging things around, I'm highlighting text. Which actually, you know what? Let me look at the... there's a different to-do list I'm going to look at. But first, did I get the code off my machine? I did not. Let's push to origin. Let's get this work off my machine. Okay, cool. So I do believe I've finished 3 to-dos. Actually, let's do this real quick. Let's clear all this. I want to make sure the last thing I did is actually working. So let's look at local storage real quick. I have 3 images in this theme, and they correspond with 3 images in local storage. If I get rid of this background, that image disappears from local storage. Good. If I get rid of... Okay. Let's save this theme. The theme has appeared in local storage. Cool. If I get rid of this image, it should not disappear from local storage because it is now a part of saved themes. If I get rid of this image, it should disappear. No, because it's still part of a saved theme. But now if I delete this saved theme, the images are purged. Cool. So the last thing, okay. I have manually verified my 3rd to-do. Good. All right. So, okay. So I'm going to wrap up the stream now. Again, just to like, if you want to follow along in my code, my account on GitHub is github.com/lmorchard. That's me. My current project that I've been working on is Firefox Color. This is my fork. It's from Mozilla/Firefox Color originally. I'm working off this branch 308 image picker. And you can kind of follow along. You can see what I've been doing so far. There is a pull request on the upstream Mozilla repo. And this pull request has my work so far. And actually, let's mark off some to-dos here. I finished this. Is it going to let me edit that? No, I'm logged in here. Oh, I'm not logged in. Yeah, let me do this real quick. Then I'm not going to let you see my password. Because, you know, I'm just gonna drag this off stage for a second. My password is a very long random sequence of letters and numbers. And I use two-factor auth. So please don't try to hack my GitHub. I'm logged in. Cool. So here's the original project. Here's my work in progress pull request. It's kind of messy right now. It's up to 10 individual commits. I'm going to squash them before everything's done. But today I finished this. I also finished this. I did not finish this. What else did I do today? Feels like I did some more stuff. No, I really just did those first two. But I got a few more things to do, and some of these may end up being optional, and some of these may actually end up getting done as part of the design refresh. Okay. I think it's actually going to do it for me today. So again, oh, one of my tests failed, or my build failed. Why did my build fail? My local stuff worked. Oh, you know what? Did I miss a linting stage? I did. It's linting. Okay. Let me fix that real quick, because I like to leave my commits in a form that passes tests, even if I'm like partway through a task or partway through implementing a feature. I like to leave it in the green. So that's 34. I got some trailing spaces. 161. Guess I never used name. But maybe I should. I don't know. But I'm not. Let's stop the site build. Been a while since I ran lint. I guess that's what I get for running a partial site build. So far, so good. Good. And I'm not even going to bother with GitHub Desktop right now. There we go. That should hopefully pass the build. Because that's annoying, seeing all those red X's. But yeah, so I'm going to come back on Friday. I'm trying to do this 2 hours, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Schedule doesn't always work out that way, but I'm trying to do it that way. I just added a schedule widget to my Twitch page. So I guess that's me trying to commit to the schedule. I may also come around this coming Saturday, because there's this hack-along thing. And I don't know, maybe I'll go into that. And I definitely would not be working on Firefox Color for that. I'm thinking I need to start streaming some side projects, just for some variety, because all I've been doing for like the past month since I've been starting to figure out how to stream is I've just been doing Firefox Color, because I figured it'd be cool to just stream myself while I'm doing my day job work. But maybe I'll do some other stuff too. So yeah, so I think I may try to get into this thing. So you may see me around like all day Saturday. We'll see. Crap happens. Might not work out. But I'm gonna try. Alright, I think I'm done. I'm going to wrap up the stream now. Hope you have a good rest of the week. I'll probably see you on Friday if you come by again. Until then, cheers. Have a good one.